Hello and good afternoon, and welcome once again to Better Than Before. And I am Dave Edelstein here to talk to you about all things to do with mindful communication, relationships, and making life something worth living. Today, this is much on my mind. I posted a question about time versus money, and this itself was inspired by something else that I had read, which said that the people who are happiest, or maybe not people who are happiest, but a big part of human happiness is wisely choosing time over money. In an example that they gave that I could relate to very strongly, they said, would you pay more to live closer to your workplace and have a smaller commute and therefore more time? Or, hi, Michelle, or would you pay less to live farther away, but you would have a longer commute? And I can recall that when I first established myself with my family on Long Island, I bought a house a mile from my work, and I went to work by bicycle every day, and it took me about 3 minutes to get there, and everything was great. And then the situation changed, and I wound up commuting first about 45 minutes to an hour, and then about an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and a half to my workplace in Great Neck, New York, where I was a teacher. And every time I got in the car to commute, I was like, this is not what I believe in. And I'll tell you, I wasn't really sure why. Very often my thought was, this is not what I believe in because it's so damaging to the environment. I used to work for the US EPA and the Environmental and the Fish and Wildlife Service. I have a background in environmental science, and I take it seriously. So the thing that always sort of bumped my mind was, I don't believe in commuting an hour each way because it's anti-environmental. But as I read this article the other day, I was like, no, what I really didn't believe in was spending over an hour in the car each way to commute about 500 miles or 800 kilometers, depending on your measurement system, each week. The time versus money thing, there's probably a break-even point. There's probably an optimal point. If you have no money at all, let's take the extreme cases. If you have no money at all, your time is not going to be very valuable to you because you're going to spend it struggling to survive. You will not be able to afford food. You will not be able to afford housing. And your time will be spent just trying to hustle your way through the day. Another thing that I have read is that in many ways, it takes more time to be poor than to be rich, because small things that people who have the means can just pay for, you have to struggle to figure out a way to handle. So there is probably a bottom rung to this, where if you have less than a certain amount of money, you have no time either. And then, of course, there's the very high rung. If you have more than, I don't know, a number I hear tossed around a lot is 6 figures. So let's say if you have more than $100,000, then the acquisition of more and more money in many ways becomes less and less meaningful. You can really take care of yourself pretty well on $100,000. You can live decently. You can eat well. You can take care of your kids. You can save for their college educations. You can pay for your health insurance. And yeah, it may not leave you with as much left over as you would like. Hi, Joe. I am also glad that you don't have to trade your time for money. Good for you. I'm happy. I am genuinely happy for you. But yeah, once you hit, I don't know, let's say about $100,000. It might be more depending on your location, your needs, your tax rate, blah, blah, blah. But that might be where, adding more and more money would really not give you all that much more. Those who perhaps earn $500,000 to $1 million might tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and they would rewrite because I've never earned money like that. That's ridiculous. I have no idea what drives someone to earn $1 million a year. I do have a friend who did at one time earn that kind of money. I I don't exactly know what he got for that, but he enjoyed his work. So, it wasn't strictly about making the money. It was about that he enjoyed the challenge of what he did. But certainly there's a point, and this is another thing that I stumbled across today as I was reading. More and more people, this article said, have side hustles, have additional gigs, have additional ways of making a few dollars, not because their side hustle really super entertains them, or because they have a dream of turning their side hustle into the real way that they make business, that they make money, or they make a living. They do their side hustle, according to this article. 70% of people do their side hustle because they can't make ends meet without it. Now, this strikes me as a tough kind of situation to be in. Here, in a situation where you have to pick up an extra job or create an extra income for yourself just to make ends meet, you're clearly trading time for money. Maybe you don't feel like you have a choice. Maybe your time for money thing is that you're really in a low income situation and you need the second or third job just to keep breathing. There was a time in my wife's life when she went through this that she had to have second and third jobs, literally just to buy food and to pay rent. That it was pretty much strictly that. And if this is your situation, sure, you're not really trading time for money, you're trading time for survival. But if you're a little bit beyond that, then I think it really does start to become questionable how badly do you need that additional income? Do you need that side hustle? Do you need to break your back to have a little more? Are there other ways that you could spend your time that might not give you equal or more joy and satisfaction? What is it that you're purchasing with the money you're earning from your second or third job, or your secondary online business, or your other stream of income, depending on how much time it takes, of course? This time that you're putting into accumulating money, what is it really giving you? What are you buying with that money? If you're buying food and paying the light bill and water bill with that money, you have my wholehearted support. You got to get by, you got to survive. I don't want to minimize how many people are living in that situation today. But if you're doing it to buy more car, or more house, or more of something that you have, maybe that time really would be better spent doing something else. Maybe that time would be better spent with your spouse or your significant other. Many, many, many relationships founder and come to grief because of lack of time invested. And that's costly. It's often costly. So you've earned all this money in your side hustle, but you haven't invested in your relationship. The relationship collapses, and all that money that you tried to pile up in the second job, the third job, it disappears as you have to relocate, move, this, that. It's complicated. It's complicated. Maybe that time would be better spent invested in your kids. Many kids don't really get enough attention from one or both of their parents. They're out there they're not exactly raising themselves, but they're spending too much time with electronic entertainment instead of real mom and dad entertainment. The time, I've said stuff like this before, I feel very strongly about this. The time you spend with your children is an investment in their well-being and an investment in your future memories. You'll find one day that you look back on the time when your children lived at home, even though it will amount to somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 or 30 years, is not long enough. And however long it wasn't long enough. And that however much time you spent with them, you wish you'd spent more. And however many memories you have, you wish that those memories were clearer and sharper and more abundant. So think if you are not truly in a desperate situation, think whether that second or third income stream is costing you more in connection than it's earning you in dollars. I'm going to wrap it up here. It's Saturday. You don't need to be listening to me on a Saturday afternoon. You have other things to do, like spending time with your significant other and kids. So get out there, do that. Spend the minutes of your life as mindfully, as aware, as wisely as you can. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.